Okay, Ramblers, let's get rambling.
Hi, everybody!
Hi, Dr. Nick.
Some dumb guy here, and I'm an idiot. Welcome to episode 8 of Some Dumb Watch for the week of November 18th through November 24th, where I chronicle what I have watched from my physical media library as well as any applicable theatrical viewings for the week. So we're going to begin right off, picking up where I left off last week with the DC animated films Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 2 and 3. Fairly cool covers, and that's about the best I could say regarding these two films, or parts of a total film, because all three constitute one ongoing movie about 4.5 hours long, approximately. I watched part 1 and was not impressed. It took me about 3 days to get through it. I kept falling asleep, and I wasn't sure if it was me falling asleep or the way it was written that made the film seem an incoherent narrative. I finished it off, wasn't impressed, dove immediately into parts 2 and 3. Didn't feel any more confident about it in the end. I've never read the comic series that this is based off of that DC put out in the 80s. I don't have that kind of foundational knowledge. I don't think I should have to. I understand that it was a very popular series. It was very impactful, not only with the readers themselves, but within the DC comic book universe overall. I thought this would be a good way to introduce myself to it, and I'm sorry I did. When these films were introduced, I heard about it, piqued my interest. I immediately tried to watch a trailer for it, and I saw how horrifically bad and lazy the animation was, and outright rejected ever even wanting to watch it, and I wish I had stuck to my guns. Ultimately, the only thing that changed my mind was them going on sale for a good price. The all three I paid less than $15 for. I don't necessarily need 4K for animation. I don't think it would have done it any favors in this case, because I said the animation is so lazy and flat that there's no redeeming quality to it at all. So making it look a little crisper, whoop-de-freaking-do. I still have to watch it. I have to listen to the dialogue. I have to try to follow the nonsensical narrative. Do not recommend. So if you haven't seen that and you're kind of on the fence, I would approach it with a lot more skepticism than I did initially, based on more than just the unimpressive artwork. So, no more. Moving on to greener pastures, because I had purchased and featured a few days ago the Paramount Scares Collection Series 2. I decided to watch for the first time since it was brand new the 4K release for Breakdown with Kurt Russell and Kathleen Quinlan. I've always adored Kathleen Quinlan. She's just this always wholesome all-American girl. And same here, even though she's not featured in a whole lot of the movie. This is a good thriller. I enjoyed it. I didn't remember a whole lot from when I first watched it. And as of now, I'm trying to recall if I actually saw it in the theater when it was new or if I rented it on VHS from the video store afterwards. I'm leaning towards a theatrical viewing because I did go to the theater a lot at that point during this year, 1997, when it came out. Transfer and everything is great, but one thing stuck out to me, but what I'm not sure if it's intentional for the way the film was made and shot, or if it's a result of the 4K scan and transfer. And that being, I felt the color tone of this was very muted and dull. Is that to, I don't know, kind of give a tonal flavor? Because a lot of this film takes place in desert terrain. And although I would associate that with really bright, harsh, oversaturated colors, this one goes the opposite route. So I'm not sure if it was an intentional move on part of the director to make it that way, to make the environment seem a little less hospitable or not. It was noticeable to me considerably for a while. I did get used to it and it kind of faded off into the background, but I found it interesting. But overall, really great movie, great thriller. Kurt Russell's great in it. It's just an everyman who gets caught into this impossible situation, and by sheer force of will and luck does he get through this situation and came out the other end. It does make me want to see if I can track down a copy of The Vanishing with Kiefer Sutherland. It's a very similar themed film. I don't know if I've ever seen that in anything beyond VHS days, though. I'm sure it's out there, but I need to do a little hunting because I'd be really curious to watch that and compare. Maybe even pair these two up together, as I tend to do. Next up, from the same collection, I went and revisited the 4K of Friday the 13th Part 2, featuring Jenny, Amy Steele. She's great in this film. Really young. I think she was the youngest Friday the 13th final girl, from what I can recall. This movie looks great, looks crisp, vibrant. Details are spectacular. It's the best it's ever looked. Very happy with this one. Part 2, in some respects, is one of my favorite of the franchise. You almost feel like this is the experiment. And then, like, okay, we can make this guy work. Now where do we take him from here? And then, boom, all of a sudden, there we go. We nailed the formula. Really enjoyed this movie. It looks great. Happy to have it in my collection. I still have World War Z and Orphan First Kill to explore as well. So we'll see how much icing on the cake there's going to be this time. More revisit. Haven't seen this one in a good number of years. Was a bit of 80s cheesy fun for back in the day. And we all can't beat it, but I got this really cheap on Amazon and featured in a recent unboxing. We have Schwarzenegger in The Running Man. Lots of great one-liners in this one. Fun movie, not quite as fun as it was back in the day. Richard Dawson, of course, spectacular. Love Richard Dawson. I like going back and watching the old Family Feud clips of him. He's absolutely great. Maria Conchita Alonso, back in her heyday, she was good. Yeah, it's just, what a great romp. A lot of fun with that one. Next up, another revisit for a film that I haven't seen since I was a kid. It was one of 2 Arrow Blu-rays that I purchased from there before the beginning of the end of my association with purchasing physical media as far as movies and TV goes from Barnes & Noble. I got this movie, watched this movie for one reason and one reason alone, and that is Kim Basinger in My Stepmother is an Alien. 50% off of their original $39.95 or $39.99, so $20 for this one. Dan Aykroyd, young Allison Hannigan, all great together. John Lovett's also in this film. Really wacky, zany, romantic comedy. A lot of fun. Kim Basinger looks spectacular as always, and this was no actual year of release, and that's disappointing. Except I just found it. Little bitty fine print. This came out in, I can barely read this, 1988. So, 1 year before starring as Vicky Vale in Batman. She looks incredibly similar in a lot of shots from that. So, that was the movie that put her on the map for me, because I absolutely love this movie for everything that it is. I'd say it's probably flawless. And the story, the performances, the wacky tone of it, the witty dialogue, all the character exchanges. Great, great, great movie. We're going to come down with this one because this is going to be one of my homemade cases. So we want to present this one being on the bottom. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And it is paired with Burn After Reading, which has also been a long time since I've seen that one, actually. I need to, while I've got it out, I should probably revisit it. But yeah, this is one of my homemade pairings to Coen Brothers movies. Similar cast in some respects. I absolutely love this movie. George Clooney nails it. And on a level probably surpassing, I think, his performance in From Dusk Till Dawn. He's in a lot of cases a complete moron, but knows how to sell himself in a way with his charisma and that gets around almost everybody he talks to, for the most part. And as a way of almost trying to make himself sound intelligent without saying anything at all. And Dapper Dan! No, he's just great. If you haven't seen Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, and you're just looking for a great solid laugh in our late 30s Mississippi, give this one a try. It's absolutely great. Last but not least, a regular feature on the series, Star Trek Enterprise, ladies and gentlemen. Still season 3. I am currently watching episode 8 in the slow goings. Watching episode Twilight, I believe is the title right now I'm working on. So still loving that. Absent this time is Friends. I didn't watch any this past week. The reason for that is this bad boy, Simpsons, season 7, DVD. For regular watchers, viewers of my channel, you'll know that I've gone through a bit of an ordeal to get my hands on this. Bought it used from Half Price Books through their Amazon page. Got it. Discs were scratched. Case was cracked. Things froze up. I think 3 episodes into the first disc. I reached out to them. They just refunded my money, stating they didn't have any additional copies to send me in replacement. Immediately afterwards, I went and back onto Amazon to look for another used copy of it. Guess who had another one listed? Half Price Books. So I bought it. It wasn't the exact same price, but I got it, and the discs were in considerably better condition. The case, considerably better condition. Some slight small smudges on it. I have just gone through disc 1, no problems. And I believe I'm on disc 2 right now. Oop, the discs do not stay in the case all that well. I have to be careful about that. I am on disc 2, and everything is working well. Show's great. I haven't revisited some of these older seasons in a very long time. Probably in the neighborhood of 25 years or so. But this is the heyday, the golden years of The Simpsons, starting with season 5 or 6. But I wanted to get this taken care of and looked at just in case I had similar issues. I wanted to get this season knocked out, so I've been kind of doing some regular binge watches in the evening after work, popping in 2, 3, 4 episodes to get through them, usually while eating dinner. And yeah, so that's that. Loving it, every second of it. Last but not least, before we take off, my sole theatrical viewing for the week. Not a new release, but a re-release of... Ooh. You gonna focus on me or what? Let's see. There she be. Ladies and gentlemen, The Fifth Element. I saw The Fifth Element when it released in the theater originally. And I want to say that was in 97 as well, same year as Breakdown, if I'm not mistaken. There was a Fathom event re-release for it, 1 show only. I went, not a crowded theater, but a decent sized crowd, and overall great time, except for the overweight man sitting directly next to me who was about the loudest breather I've ever had the displeasure of sitting in a movie theater, but there wasn't really anywhere else for me to relocate, and felt a little self-conscious actually trying to move and how that would have been perceived. But yeah. Yeah, but anyway, eventually I got into it, and aside from his breathing and his regularly turning to his co-watcher on the other side of me, or other side of him rather, and deciding to make a regular commentary, fortunately quietly, but still annoying as hell. It's one of my things about modern theatrical viewing post-COVID. which I think I'm going to make a video about. What did COVID do to the theatrical experience? Nothing good, I assure you. But we're going to get into that in a later date. So, for now, thank you very much for joining me on this latest episode of SumDumWatch. I will see you again for this series in 1 week. And thank you once again for being with me. If you have any comments to throw out as far as what I watched, any recommendations, any criticisms, go let me know down there. Comment below. Fill the void of the comment section that is chirping crickets in my videos as of late. So, good night. Thank you once again. See you next time. Bye-bye.